welcome to the Desserts with David. This is our first episode of the new year. I want to welcome you. If you see, I have this new apron that I got for Christmas from our oldest child, our daughter. She designed a nice new logo for me that says Desserts with David. And then since this is a library cooking show and I like mice, on the pocket we have a cute little mouse holding his books. Okay, so what we're going to make today for our first recipe for this year is a white chocolate raspberry cake. I have the oven at 350. I've floured and greased my pans, but we also have to add some parchment paper. So I wanted to show you, my scissors are gone. I wanted to show you what a little trick that I showed you before to get the parchment paper round. Just fold it in half. Fold it in half again. Then you're just going to put it a little triangle like that. And then another little triangle. Then you just take the pan and kind of put it in the middle. And then we're just going to trim it. This recipe suggested putting the parchment paper in because it will help the cake from sticking to the pan. So then you just unfold it. And you have your little round circle. Just stick it in there. And we will set this aside. First off, I have a cup, 1 3/4 cup of milk on the stove, getting warm. We want it warm, we don't want it boiling. Then have 4 ounces of baker's chocolate that I'm going to put in that. I'm going to let it sit in there for a second. I can turn that off now. And we're just going to stir it until we melt the chocolate. And then we'll set this aside and let it cool off a little bit while we make the cake mix. I forgot to mention those are 8-inch by 2-inch cake pans. Again, you just grease and flour and then put a circle of parchment paper at the bottom. Oven's at 350. So once we got this nice and smooth, we got a little bit more chocolate there. A little bit more. All right, we'll set this aside, let it cool off a little bit while we make the rest of the cake. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to start with 1 1/2 sticks of butter. Just put that in a mixer. We're going to mix that so it's smooth. And then into that we're going to add 1 1/2 cups of sugar. We're going to mix that on medium, about 4 to 5 minutes. So while we do that, I'll get the flour ready. This recipe calls for cake flour. I do not have cake flour. So the recipe said if you don't have cake flour, to make your own cake flour, for every cup of flour you use, you take out 2 tablespoons of flour and replace it with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. So we're going to do that. The cake flour, I looked online to see, I didn't know what the difference was, makes for a lighter, fluffier cake, like if you're making pound cake or stuff. So there's 1, 2, 3, and since I've got 2 1/2 cups of flour, I'm going to take out 5 tablespoons. And then we're going to replace it with my 5 tablespoons of cornstarch that I already mixed up. And just whisk that together. Alright, let's scrape this down a little bit. Alright. While that's going, to the flour, I'm going to add 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And whisk that all together. You want the butter and sugar to be nice, light, and fluffy. It's almost there. And what we're going to do is we're going to alternate adding the flour and the sugar, or the flour and the milk mixture. So let me bring the milk over. We got our nice smooth milk and chocolate mixture. So we're going to turn this to slow. I'm going to add a little bit of flour. Pour in a little bit of our milk chocolate mixture. And just keep doing that until we get all of our stuff in there. Add the rest of the milk. Rest of our flour. And we have 2 eggs and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So we're going to add the eggs one at a time, just until they're blended. Turn that up a little bit. The recipe says not to over mix it. You just want to mix it till it's thin. Then we'll add our 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Get that nice and mixed. Scrape it down a little bit here, make sure we got it all mixed, and then we'll pour it into the pans. A little bit more. Then we're going to divide it between the 2 pans here. Try to get it even. And we're going to throw these in the 350-degree oven for 30 to 35 minutes until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. And then we'll go on from there. See you in a little bit. Okay, our cakes are done. We have them over here cooling. Yeah, I cooled them in the pans for about 10 minutes and take them out and let them cool completely. Now we're going to make the raspberry filling for the middle. So for that we needed 12 ounces of frozen raspberries. Let's see, 1/2 cup of sugar, 3 tablespoons cornstarch, and then 1 teaspoon lemon juice. So what I'm doing is you put the raspberries in a strainer and drain the juice out. Then I'm going to just work on it. It takes several minutes to do this. Just going to push all the juice out. So we want to get as much juice out of this as we can get. Try to keep the seeds in the strainer. So it's going to take a few minutes here. Okay, I think we got most of the juice out. You're gonna be left with the seeds and some pulp in there. So any of this that came through the strainer, you want to scrape off and get it into the bowl. Okay, we're gonna set that aside. We don't need that. So you should come up with between, let's see, a 1/2 to 3/4 cup of juice here. So we're gonna pour that into our measuring cup here. What I need is a total of 1 1/4 cups liquid, so I'm going to add some water to get us to up to 1 1/4 cups. All right. Turn that on there. We're going to add it into our saucepan. And into this, we are going to whisk in the 1/2 cup of sugar. And then our cornstarch, again, it is 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. And then I have 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. Whisk that all together. Then we're going to cook this, and you want to whisk it constantly while you're cooking it. Cook it over the heat until it thickens. So we're going to do that, and then we'll come back when we got it nice and thickened, and we'll go on from there. Okay, we've been cooking it on medium and whisking the whole time until it thickens. It's starting to get thick there. So I've been doing it about 5 minutes on medium heat. And I think that's thick enough. So we're going to set this aside to cool. And while that's cooling, we're going to work on our frosting. For our frosting, oh, I forgot to mention, for the filling, if you want to, you can add a teaspoon or a couple teaspoons of raspberry extract if you want to, right after you're done cooking. I didn't get any of that, so I'm not going to add it, but if you want to add a little more raspberry flavor, you can add some raspberry extract. So what I have here is 8 ounces of white chocolate, and then I have 4 tablespoons of milk or cream. I'm using heavy cream. Just going to pour that over it. And then we're going to microwave this and melt it. I'm going to go in like about 15-second intervals. Melt that. Let me get my little spatula out of here. See, that's nice and thickening up now. How it's, when it's cooling off, it's thickening a little bit. So just take it out and stir it as you go. Not even, it's a little bit melted, but so we're gonna keep doing that. While that's going, the rest of our ingredients for the frosting, we have 3 sticks of butter at room temperature. I'm going to throw that in there. Then we have 4½ cups powdered sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Then we have extra milk or heavy cream if we need to loosen up the frosting. So let's see here. It's melting, it's starting to melt. Okay, I need a little bit more time. Once you get it almost melted and you take it out, it's still going to melt more and the warm cream. So, but let's get this, put it in for another about 20 seconds here. While that's going, we are going to mix the butter until it's nice and smooth and creamy. Again, the butter's at room temperature. 3 sticks of butter. Check on our cream here. You know, I'm going to get a whisk out and use the little whisk. Okay. Made a mess on the bowl there. Okay, we got that whisked up. We're going to set that aside, let that cool off a little bit, and it will continue melting. And we got it nice and smooth there. The raspberry filling, I forgot to tell you, you can make it ahead and you can store it in the refrigerator covered for up to a week. So if you want to make it early, you could do that. All right, so we got our butter creamed. We're going to add the powdered sugar, about a cup at a time. Just mix it in nice and slow there. And with everything else, you want to stop it every once in a while and scrape down the sides. Get it all mixed in there. Okay. That mixing. And I'm going to add our milk and cream mixture. Mix in our vanilla. Again, scrape down the sides every once in a while here. I don't think we'll need the extra cream. Pretty creamy. Okay, we're going to let this mix for a while until it gets to frosting consistency. Then we'll be back and we'll put the cake together. Okay, we beat the frosting about 3 to 4 minutes on medium speed. So we got that. So now we're going to put the cake together. I've already done this one. We're going to take a serrated knife. We're just going to cut the layers in half. Well, about half, wherever you end up there. Okay. We'll take our cake. Just going to put a little dot frosting on here to keep the cake from moving around. Take it. And we'll put our layer there. Then we have our filling that we made. So we're just going to spread this on. Don't go to the edge. You can, if you're worried about it coming out the edge, you can pipe a layer of frosting around, but Jackson said it's pretty thick. It shouldn't spread too much. So we'll see. So just don't go to the whole edge with the filling. We'll see how this works. Okay. So we're going to take some frosting. And we're going to kind of spread that on there so we can spread it out. Now the frosting you want to go all the way to the edge with. My frosting's mixing with the raspberry, which is okay, I guess. And we'll put our next layer on top. Add some more raspberry. Some more frosting on here. And spread it out. Put our next cake layer on top. Well, we broke that one, so we'll put that one next. I want that one on top. Okay. Frosting. I probably should have put a little dim because my filling's not quite as thick. It's kind of rolling off, but Okay. And we're going to put our last layer on. And then we are just going to, I'm going to clean that off to get the raspberry off of it. And I want to do some decorating on top, so I got a little cup to put a little extra frosting in. We got that. So now we're going to just decorate the cake. Straighten it up here. My broken piece is not good. I should have put that on top, I guess. Oh well, learn as we go, right? Doesn't have to be neat because it's just a rough frosting job. This one's not turning out as great, people, but that's okay. I'm sure it tastes good. Hopefully it tastes good. Yeah. Lick my fingers there a little bit. Yeah, a small little problem here, but oh well, it will taste good. And we're going to try to decorate it. I just have a little star tip in here. Just gonna put a couple little stars. And we got some fresh raspberries. And I think if my cake wouldn't have broken, probably would have held together a little bit better. And there we go. And there's my mess. Hang on, let me grab a plate here. That side looks good, guys, so we'll cut there. Let's see what we got going on here. Maybe. And then there we go. We got strawberry chocolate or raspberry chocolate cake that I made a mess of. Okay, well, again, this was a white chocolate raspberry cake. That's kind of falling apart here, but if your cake layers don't break apart, you'll be much better off. I didn't bring myself a fork, so I'm going to use my spoon here and try it. It does taste good, so that's good. Thank you for watching, and hopefully next time our cake will turn out better.